Myrkur is a game developing company, and Friðrik Aðalsteinn Friðriksson is here to tell us about their upcoming game. Let's hear it for Friðrik.
There is something wrong with the gaming industry today. On one hand, we have large development companies producing games of the highest production value and cost, games like Tomb Raider that sell 3.4 million copies within the first month and yet are declared a commercial failure. On the other hand, we have thousands of low-budget indie games being released and no one gets attention because of the saturation on the indie market. So we have this huge contrast between the high published games called AAA games and the smaller independently developed games. However, we see this as an opportunity. We believe that we can redefine what it means to be an independent developer. We believe that we can create a game that has the same quality as a AAA game, but with the budget of an indie developer. And this combination of AAA and indie is something we like to call triple indie. So, how are we going to do this? We are seizing the technologies that are available for us today. There have been major improvements in game engine technology that allow small teams like ourselves to streamline our workflow. Secondly, advances in photogrammetry allow us to create photorealistic environments using our know-how and an average camera. Third, motion capture allows the capture of actor performance, and this has recently become both accessible and affordable for small teams like ourselves. And in fact, this suit, we are the first customers to get it, and we got it only 3 weeks ago. In fact, when we received it, the software version was 1.0.0. Lastly, but not least, we are focusing the scope of AAA games while retaining the quality when it comes to both visual fidelity and gameplay. Now, the team behind Myrkur is great. Together, we have experience working on multiple projects, including games, and a full-body virtual reality technology that was showcased at an international tech conference and is now being made open source for use within Reykjavik University. Behind the team, we have Halldór, our art director, Daniel, our animator, and myself as lead developer. We also have access to expert advisors that provide the team with valuable insight. And we're also excited to announce that we have 2 fantastic individuals joining us this fall. Now, our game is an action role-playing game set in a fantasy world. We want players to experience around 10 to 15 hours of single-player storyline, where our focus is on narrative, believable characters, and stunning environments. Another big emphasis for us is on player combat, where we emphasize fun and engaging ways for players to adapt to any situation. We are targeting the PC and console markets, as they provide great support for visually demanding games such as ourselves, as well as being a great platform to start building a community for this game and future releases. We are targeting specifically the action and role-playing genre, as they constitute 1/3 of all sales on these platforms, making the gross revenue annually around $21 billion. The indie market is saturated with releases, and AAA games are few and far between. There are relatively few who can strike a middle ground, as independent developers have not yet been able to breach this gap in the market. We intend to release a higher quality game, but with a lower price point to establish ourselves within this market gap. Now, go-to-market strategies for games are a well-trodden path, and we're going to utilize effective strategies to reach the highest target audience as possible. We are going to be contacting influencers on social media sites and streaming sites, as well as gaming news networks to further expand our market. We're also going to innovate by keeping our entire development progress open to the community. And we're doing this in the form of video logs, so we can start the conversation early and gain a following from the first steps of our journey. The game itself is a single sale product priced at around $30. This makes it half the price of a AAA game, but still higher than your typical indie game. After the release of our game, we are also planning on releasing additional purchasable content that will sell with a higher margin post-release. To reach a break-even point, we estimate that we need only sell around 100,000 copies, which is around 1/3 of our estimates, according to the research we have acquired. We will then be distributing our games through online markets, such as Steam, that have all shown to be great platforms for distribution of games. So, here is our timeline. Our next step is creating a playable prototype that will be made open to the community so we can receive feedback. Once we receive feedback, we can use it to both iterate and improve our product. And our prototype is intended to be a vertical slice of our final game, as well as standing as proof of concept for us, for the community, and potential investors. Once we receive validation for our prototype, we will actively start seeking seed funding. Now, our vision is not just to create a single game. We want to create a world where players will fall in love with and come back to. We want to take our game and we want to expand it into a series of games all set within the same world. We want to build on the traction and following of our first game and make it lay the foundation for Myrkur's future growth going forward. We are witnessing a big shift in the industry. Independently developed games are being redefined as higher quality indie games are going to rule the market. We believe that we are going to be at the forefront of this evolution. Thank you.